California Congressman Duncan Hunter continues gaining momentum against a Democrat opponent that many voters say wouldn't be a good fit for the conservative district. As One America's Pearson explains, the latest allegations against Hunter could be a tactic to gain a seat, one Democrats would have a hard time winning in a straight election.
Embattled congressional candidate Duncan Hunter is fighting a tirade from left-wing media who have already convicted him in the court of public opinion. Hunter's trial for allegedly misusing $250,000 in campaign funds won't begin until after the November elections, but Democrats appear to think they can get a jump on winning his seat by knocking him out of the race early. But despite their best efforts, Hunter is still holding a strong lead over his opponent and has even gained points since the indictments made the news.
This is a well-orchestrated plan to eliminate Duncan Hunter from this seat in San Diego County.
Joseph John lives in San Diego and is a retired captain in the Navy, also serving as a counter-terrorist analyst in the FBI, specializing on the Middle East. He explains the sudden attack on Hunter has come out of nowhere, despite the fact the investigation into the representative's past has been reported on for years. Retired Marine Corps Gunnery Sergeant Nick Popovich, who also lives in San Diego and ran for Congress in 2010, says based on his experience, the timing of the attacks appear to be politically motivated.
The timing is questionable because it's after the primary. After the primary, there's no way to put somebody else on the ballot. If you look at the 50th Congressional District, it is overwhelmingly conservative. This would be a political stunt to end up with somebody who in no way reflects the values of that district. Many of these charges are almost 10 years old, but yet they dropped them within 70 days of an election after the primary. The timing is very suspect. They've been sitting on this information. They dropped it at a very, very calculated time politically, not judicially, politically.
And most of the voters agree with him, with 42% polled saying they felt the charges were part of an attack by Democrats. John supports these claims, saying this sort of assault is unprecedented by the Department of Justice.
The Justice Department is, by precedent, has never indicted anybody 90 days before election, and they indicted Duncan Hunter in less than 70 days before an election. That's unprecedented.
John goes on to say that while Duncan Hunter has represented his district for years and follows in his father's footsteps, that his opponent, a Palestinian-Mexican millennial Democrat named Amar Campa-Najjar, doesn't get his support from the people of San Diego. In fact, by tracking his donations, most of Najjar's funding comes from out of state, including from some groups that have connections to the Muslim Brotherhood, including the Council on American Islamic Relations, also known as CARE.
He is being supported by CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood, and he's received over $1 million from all over the country. This is a 28-year-old young man, wet behind the ears, who's never run for anything in his life, and he's raised $1 million. To see someone who jumps into a campaign and raises $1 million, he has to have the backing of the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE. But those donations, if you go to the public website for the Federal Election Commission, those donations are not from San Diego. They're from all over the country.
And Popovich agrees, saying based on Najjar's family history, it's not a good idea to give him a security clearance. Najjar's grandfather was a member of the terrorist organization Black September back in the 70s and helped mastermind the Olympic massacre that killed 11 Israeli athletes and coaches in 1972. And far from condemning the attacks, Najjar's own father praised the death of the Israelis, saying they deserved to die. And now his son, endorsed by groups who have ties with Islamic terrorist organizations, is running for Congress.
From a retired Marine perspective, one thing I would say is the national security. Because like when in the military, if I was going to get a security clearance, one of the things that would certainly be applied are family relationships. So I'm not saying Najjar should be punished for the actions of his grandfather or his father or anything like that. But I certainly think it's something that should be looked into, something that would be a factor before this guy is given access to the security and the secrets of our nation. And from his party, what I would say is there's a bad command climate there. The Democrats have shown just complete carelessness with our national security.
Well, again, I go back to the security of the United States. If he gets into Congress, he will have access to top secret information concerning our military personnel. I'm a retired Navy captain, and I'm very concerned about the security of the members of the U.S. Armed Forces. He should not have access to this information. I could be completely wrong, and he could be completely right. but the risk involved precludes me from saying this man should be elected to Congress.
Najjar's questionable connections aside, many San Diego voters are protesting that Duncan Hunter hasn't even had a chance to defend himself in court against the accusations. Residents and analysts, including John and Popadich, say that considering Hunter's lifetime spent in service to his country, he at least deserves to stand up in court and have a fair trial.
If you take the full body of evidence of his lifetime of dedication to our country, as a combat Marine, a major in the Marine Corps, who repeatedly saw combat at the risk to his life, and has done some incredible things in Congress for the U.S. Armed Forces, I don't think he should be thrown out of Congress without having an opportunity to present his case to the voters of San Diego County.
This man has spent his entire adult life in service to this nation, service to his neighbors, to his constituency, to the citizens of this nation. And as such, I certainly think he rates due process.
Pearson Sharp, One America News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.